Hi, folks. Everything new under the sun. I'm very busy, and so trying to get a video out to you to give you the world events and how it relates to Bible prophecy as I understand it. And I always try and bring an understanding as much as I can to the news of the day as it relates to the Bible and Bible prophecy, how it points us in the direction of the return of the Lord, how it shows us that the world is moving in a particular direction and going from bad to worse, and that's for sure. This is John chapter 10, verse 10, and it speaks about the thief, and this is about Satan. And one thing to know about Satan is he just wants to kill everybody he can. He knows his time is short. He wants to take as many people with him to hell as he can. He knows the Bible. He knows the Bible better than you or I. He knows it from the cover to the very last page, and he has been throughout the ages in some way, communicating with humans through those ages. Remember, he came in as a snake in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. And so Satan has always been there. He's always been moving people towards death, convincing them, tricking them, deceiving them to do something that ultimately will end their life, because he is the prince of deceit and lies. So verse 10 says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy." This is what Satan's purpose is. "And I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." So Jesus Christ came so that we can have life and have it to the full. But Satan comes to steal and to kill and destroy. So any news you hear about abortion, transgenderism, whatever it may be, it's all to kill people, to limit birth, to kill babies, to cause people to fall into sin in some way. And this is Satan's ultimate goal. And of course, with abortion, that's the whole the burning of the god Moloch, and the burning of the children. Killing babies is not a new thing. They've done it through the ages, and the Bible records that. We just call it something different. We call it something good in the name of the health of the mother, etc. But we're doing that, and Satan, again, he just wants to kill as many people as possible. He doesn't care how he does it, and he just wants as many people to go to hell as possible, and to limit the number of babies coming into the world, either through homosexuality, whatever it may be, so that the human population will become extinct, and to basically put a wrench in God's plans for the earth. And what are we supposed to do? Go forth and multiply. And what's Satan trying to do? Well, he's trying to stop us at every turn. This is an article from Zero Hedge. Elon Musk slams extinctionist movement who sees humans as plague. This whole climate change thing, what do they want to do? Ultimately, they want to limit the number of humans. If they thought climate change was so bad and they need to limit humans, why wouldn't they just let the climate get very hot, and then there would ultimately be an extinction of humans, or at least many killed off. And it says, in a recent interview, Elon Musk warned that those who wish to see humanity thrive in a fight against those with an extinctionist philosophy, environmental extremists who see humans as a plague on the earth. What's the problem? Well, it's the humans. Now, everybody who preaches this sort of environmental gospel, of course, it's not them that needs to be removed from the earth. It's everybody else, as long as it's not them, of course. It says Musk was speaking to the Cato Institute about the implosion of the birth rate. And again, this is one other vector which Satan is going to use to limit the number of humans, to limit the number of souls that accept Jesus Christ. And how is he doing it? Well, one method, it's coming out about the poke, and the fact that it seems to have coincided, the release of that seems to have coincided with sperm count numbers in men down 22% ever since that the poke came out. And that is an interesting thing. And I look at anything that lowers birth rates, limits humans, causes humans to die faster. Um, I look at all of those things as being satanic, straight from the evil one. Because ultimately, he's going to use any avenue, any vector, any method with which to lead people astray, to limit them from having babies, and limit them or stop them really from fulfilling God's commandment to go forth and multiply, and to basically throw a wrench, and again, in God's plan for humanity, and to limit again the number of souls that can accept Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. It's a war. Satan is ultimately, in the last battle, going to get together all the people who are not for Christ. So if he has more, souls, if you will, in hell that he can bring against God's army and the souls that have accepted Jesus Christ, well, then he thinks he can win. I don't know why he thinks he can win, but that's another discussion. But he's building his army, Satan is, and God's building his army. And Satan's going to do whatever it takes to stop souls coming to Jesus Christ. If there are no humans, there's no humanity, Musk simplified, adding we need to make them somehow. Yeah, and you think of all the things in the culture with homosexuality and the transgenderism stuff, again, all which encourages really people to not have children. And then you have the poke coming in here and also adding to that, lowering sperm counts. And so we're not going to have as many babies. And then you have world wars, the meat grinder in Ukraine. Satan loves that stuff. He loves all those men just dying for no reason. And so he would love if World War III started and nuclear weapons were used and, killed huge numbers of mankind. That's exactly what Satan wants. He wants to destroy, divide, kill, and steal. John 10:10. Military draft. U.S. is getting ready for World War III. Have you heard them talking about peace? No, you haven't. What are they doing? They're funneling millions and billions even of dollars into the Ukraine. And the military draft is now coming because they now see this as coming. Interesting. They're still not really talking about it in mainstream media. You have, effectively the Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0 happening down in Cuba, and the Russian military is going to Venezuela as well. It looks to me like Russia is kind of going around to all its supporters, all their neighbors, and saying, look, this is coming up. They're probably hand-delivering notes from Putin so that intelligence can't intercept them, and hand-delivering them to the leaders of all the supporters, all those friends of Russia. This is interesting. Jordanian pilgrim dies after shouting anti-Israeli slogans. A Jordanian pilgrim in Mecca spent his entire time shouting death to Israel, long live Hamas. Shortly afterward, he suffered cardiac arrest and died. I think when you slap God in the face so much verbally and overtly like this, at some point that red line is crossed, and God says, you know what, your time is up. Now, I'm not going to put up with this. This slap in the face and this denigration of the apple of my eye, the people of Israel, the Jews. And this is what happens, folks. They're gonna write this away as, this guy was an old guy. Maybe it was hot out, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he died shouting death to Israel. And I take that to mean that, maybe the Lord's hand was in that, and maybe that was a red line crossed. Be careful when you blaspheme the name of Christ and you make fun of his people, his family. He is a good Father. He is all powerful, and he will defend when it comes down to it. He will defend, and these sorts of things happen, and people don't recognize the significance of them. This is War News 247. Let's go here. Let's refresh this here. There we go. NATO activates its nuclear shield, fully confirming what News 247 for the permanent vigilance from now on of the nuclear member countries of the Atlantic Alliance. The English is a bit broken because it's Google translation, but NATO has activated. They've put on standby the nuclear shield. Decision was made long ago as NATO fears either a strike or one of the supply bases of the Ukrainian ED, or the use of tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine. So it's all but certain now. Both sides are talking about it. They've been talking about it openly. Russia's been warning of it for a long time. Tactical nukes will be used, and the U.S. is ready for it. Apparently, there's a green light by both sides, and there's none of this in mainstream media because they don't want to upset the media. The government is trying to keep the population under control. Not only that, but they don't want the population to know, because then the population might go to the politicians and say, hey, we probably don't want this war in Ukraine. And then the government would have to change course. So they're keeping it, I think, purposely. They're not telling the truth. They're not providing information to the public that the public should be aware of. And most people have no idea what's really, really happening. It says nukes, NATO nukes on standby. They are coming out of storage. They're getting the dust off the nuclear warheads. They're getting prepared. NATO is in talks to develop more nuclear weapons. So the buildup has begun by bringing them out of storage and into readiness in the face of growing threat from Russia. The boogeyman, Russia and China. This is what mainstream media is going to be telling you. Russia's the boogeyman. You know what? I'm not saying they're perfect, but we need to go and talk peace with them and come to some understanding. You don't hear NATO talking about land for peace in Ukraine and Russia. No, you only hear that when it's Israel. Israel needs to give land for peace. But does Ukraine need to give land for peace? Well, certainly not. Right? And you don't hear it from the other side of things. The Hamas or the folks in Gaza to give land for peace to Israel, to create a buffer zone. You don't hear that at all. All you hear is the boogeyman that the people in the West want you to know about. It says, as Jan Stoltenberg told British newspaper Telegraph, there will be consultations among members of the alliance for transparency around the use of nuclear arsenal as a deterrent. So, they're going to come out and say a bunch of words, again, just to get ahead of the public thinking that we're going to nuclear war, and saying, oh, these will just be tactical nukes, no worries. So when the first one is used, there's not panic. Remember, the government just needs to keep you under control, and if that means you not knowing the truth, then that's what's going to work. And this is what the military does. This is called propaganda, folks. It's telling a narrative so that the population doesn't go overboard, or so that you can move the population and help them, convince them of a particular idea, and get them into sort of a groupthink situation. And this is straight up propaganda, psychological operations. This is common stuff for militaries. This is interesting. Warning 247. Extremely rare. Putin goes to North Korea. What will be announced? So North Korea has nuclear weapons. North Korea is on, of course, China and Russia's side. The warships that were in Cuba are now going to Venezuela. I suspect, like I mentioned earlier, I suspect that they're going around to these nations where they can, either with the warships or Putin's visiting, handing them a letter saying, here's our red line. Here's what we're going to do shortly. We're going to use tactical nukes. Don't worry, don't fire your weapons. But if we give you the go-ahead, then you'll know. And they're transferring this either by word of mouth or by a piece of paper, again, so that intelligence agencies can't intercept this sort of thing. If they did this over cell phone, whatever it may be, of course the intelligence would get it, right? So interesting that Putin is visiting here. Putin will visit North Korea June 18th and 19th in an extremely rare visit that signals Moscow's growing cooperation with the nuclear armed state. Again, I think they're giving them instructions at a high level to say, when this goes hot, you're on our side. You launch nuclear weapons first, or whatever it may be, right? North Korea's Kim Jong-un renewed invitation to Putin during his visit to the Russian Far East last September. Putin has been visiting Pyongyang since the year 2000. So I think Russian intelligence, Russian military, they're going around to all the nations that support Russia. They're coming to an alliance, or making an alliance, or making an agreement. They're letting them know, you know what? Yes, we're going to use tactical nukes. Don't be afraid. But here's how we're going to use them. Here's maybe where we're going to use them. And I think he's setting the groundwork. I think they're doing a bit of a going around to all their allies to say, get ready. Something's coming. Something's up. And likewise, there was an article on, I think, Warner 247 also, that Europe was doing that as well. There was an emergency military meeting suggesting that something's up. They're talking about something. They're getting ready. They're getting defensive systems ready. Sounds like to me that they're gearing up for the use of tactical nukes. They're going to normalize this for everybody, saying, oh, it's not a big deal, not a big deal at all. Meanwhile, there is fallout, there is radiation, even though limited in the area, and it's going to change the battlefield completely when they start using tactical nukes. So be prepared. You might want to get yourself some alternate communications, ham radio, FRS radios. I'm going to be doing a video about FRS radios shortly. I should be getting some to have a look at. But get your amateur radio license. Get some amateur radio equipment. Get some old paper maps. You may need to travel, and GPS is likely going to be scrambled when this thing kicks off. Remember, the government is going to be in control, and they're going to take down all information. They're going to censor information so that you get one voice, one truth from the mainstream media, and only the only source of truth is going to be the government at this point in time. So you need to be prepared for that. So you need a community. You need channels to get diverse channels to get alternate information so that you can compare and contrast and figure out where the truth actually lies. So folks, I'll leave it there. I got to get going, but thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.